Non-duality can seem really abstract and really complicated, yet what it actually is pointing to is the simplest imaginable thing. What it is pointing to is a possibility of simple rest right now, a possibility of simple rest, simple freedom, simple wholeness that is always available and is actually the only thing that we ever experience. This now moment is simple rest, simple freedom, simple wholeness. We just typically don't notice that that's what it is because we are so locked into our thoughts and definitions, because we believe our thoughts and definitions, including believing all these subtle non-dual concepts like consciousness, awareness, absolute, void, God. Even these subtle concepts, if we believe in them, if we concretize them, if we try to make them into something graspable, something definite, some kind of final truth that we could really rest our head upon, we will completely miss the mark, because then we're still in the realm of philosophy. We're still in the realm of definition and belief. We're still subtly reifying concepts, and we're trying to turn those concepts into final answers. We're trying to say, oh, I got it now. I have the final, complete, non-dual philosophy in my head, and I could explain to someone exactly why consciousness is the only thing that exists, and there's no one here, and I've memorized all these concepts. And yet, simple presence, the simplicity of naked now presence, is not actually like that. It's not actually like all these concepts, even the most subtle concepts, which at certain points, certain stages on the path can be really important. Tools can be really useful. Eventually, they all start to fall away, and they all start to be seen as children's toys, playthings, and paltry imitations of the real thing, which is, ironically, it's just so extraordinarily simple. It's not fireworks, it's not flashbang grenades, it's not rainbows, it's not popping out into the absolute, it's not rarefied meditative experiences, it's not 5-MeO DMT, it's not the jhanas. It's not the achievement of any special state. Special states can come and go. Sure, this can look like anything. That's one of the best pointers that can be given. This can look like anything. Peter Brown used to say that all the time. This can look like anything. And yet it's always simply this. That's what is increasingly seen. This can look like the most dazzling light show of sublime infinity, or it can look like the sheer simplicity of you enjoying a morning cup of joe, a morning cup of coffee. And both of those, that full spectrum, is nothing other than this simple rest that is prior to any definition about it. It itself has no fixed definition. It has no fixed answer. It has no fixed belief. It is not containable within a structure of belief, within a structure of concepts. And that's really what collapses over time. Our deeply ingrained human tendency to try to make this something fixed, try to make this something we could really get our hands on, try to make this into something that really does have clear final answers and clear definitions and a clear map of this is who I am, this is what life is, this is where I need to go, this is what I need to do, this is what is important, this is what I need to envision and improve and heal and bring from point A to point B. All of those maps are gradually seen to be made of what is undefined, made of what is prior to definition, just this naked simplicity, just this naked simplicity. Any map is just another instantaneous arising of this naked simplicity, another dance of this pure, simple morphingness that has no actual fixity. It has no actual fixity. So the fixity that is implied by all the maps gradually dissolves. It's gradually seen with increasing clarity that there are no fixed meanings, there are no fixed concepts, there are no fixed beliefs. You know, again, this can look like fixed beliefs, it can show up as anything. It's always fully itself, no matter what is happening, no matter whether we're noticing it or not, no matter whether we're resting in our natural condition of freedom or not. That freedom is always there. That freedom has always been there. It will always be there. It's just this simple unknowing, you could say. It's like a release into unknowing, where the mind is just, the thinking mind is just not taken seriously anymore. It's just really, really clearly seen that the thinking mind, while useful in some contexts, is like this incredibly feeble scaffolding that just doesn't hold water. It tries so hard to make these solid castles, yet they all just turn to sand and slip through its fingers. You cannot pin down reality within any sort of concretization, any sort of belief, any sort of attempt at a fixed or final meaning or a fixed or final truth. There is no truth, there is no meaning, there is no belief. And yet, again, those are just pointers. When non-dual people are saying things like, there is no you, there is no meaning, there is no purpose, that's not the truth either. That's just a way that language can be used as a slashing mechanism to cut through our many layers of heavy-handed solidification so that we can potentially open to a wider range of what is here and the various ways that it can present to itself. Yet it's no more true to say that there is no self as to say that there is a self. Both of these just completely miss the mark. You know, they're valid perspectives, they're poetry that is included, that arises in and as this. Yet what this is just too dang simple. That's the thing. It's neither self nor not self, because these conceptual structures are just gradually seen to be all so heavy-handed, so heavy-handed. It's just like what is here is so simple. It's just like the simplicity of air or the simplicity of water, and language is like trying to convey what air or water is by just making like wild monkey mouth noises and waving hands in the air like it's like it's like okay, yeah, that's never going to get close to what the actual experience of air or water is like. You know, it's much more like a both, neither, far beyond eitherness because it includes every single perspective. It completely includes the perspective that I'm a me and this is my life and I'm in a room right now and I'm in Germany. Sure, can still totally tune in to that perspective. It's just seeing that that's not a solid thing. That's not any sort of fixed or final truth. That's just kind of like a poetic spin doctoring that allows for a really wonderful, a really beautiful and intimate way that this can seem to be, that this can rest with itself or play with itself. You know, all this is doing is playing with itself through these numberless, endless perspectives, yet it never departs from now. It never departs from this simple rest of now. So again, the both, neither, far beyond eitherness, the perspective of, yes, me, I'm here, that's totally included, as well as the perspective of, I'm not here, no one's here, nothing is here, there's no world, there's no body. That's also included, this perspective that can just notice that everything disappears in the instant it appears. The beginning of this sentence is nowhere to be found, and the end of the sentence is not here until right now, and then it's gone. And if you look closely from another vantage, everything is like that. Everything is just this instantaneous flash of nowness that is continuously morphing and shifting, and it doesn't remain static for any one moment. And so in a profound sense, it never becomes anything. It never becomes anything, never becomes anything solid. And yet that too is just another way that this can seem to be. This cannot be reduced to that quote unquote impermanence or emptiness. If you reify that and you try to make that into a new ground, a new final truth, then again you miss the mark because you then cut yourself off from being able to be with the full range of modes and suggestiveness and meaningfulness that this presents as. It presents as this unimaginable range of modes and meaningfulness. And when we allow it to be free of fixed meanings, when we stop trying to force fit it into these fixed meanings, then this full range of modes and flavors is available to us, this full range of perspectives, and we can just kind of dance through these perspectives, play with these perspectives, find our own natural center of gravity moment to moment in terms of how we artfully be with and express these various perspectives and these various ways that this can seem to be. And yet we just see with increasing clarity that none of these perspectives, none of these views on what this is can ever be final, can ever be the ultimate, can ever pin this down in any final sense. It's almost more accurate to say both, neither, far simpler than either. Neither self nor not self, neither form nor emptiness, neither relative nor absolute, neither shape nor shapelessness, neither objects nor objectlessness, neither time nor timelessness, neither change nor changelessness, neither space nor spacelessness, neither consciousness nor not consciousness. Drop all these heavy-handed concepts and look at what is too simple for words. Look at what has always been way too simple to be at all suggested or grazed by even the most subtle concept. Look for that. Look for that. And when I say look for it, it's more like just melt into it right here and now. Just sensitively feel and notice that this simplicity right here and now, which is just your ordinary everyday life, it's just whatever appears, it's just what happens. Just notice that you don't know what that is in any conceptual sense. You could never know what that is in any conceptual sense. You could never answer any question in any sort of final or structuralized or concretized way and say, yes, finally, I've got it. This is the ultimate structure that reality fits into. No, no, doesn't. It's too simple. It's too close. It's too direct. It's just any box you try to put it into, it's like water that's going to just leak out the bottom of the soggy cardboard. Just too simple, just too close, just too slippery. So yeah, it's like the mind is just gradually put in its proper place, you know? It can function as it needs to. It's it's never going to completely let go of all of its definitions. The definitions can still be there. It's just kind of like they're not believed in the same way. They're not concretized as like final or objective truths. They become increasingly transparent. They're just not really taken seriously anymore. They're not, and even if they seem to be taken seriously, that's also included, that anything can arise. This can look like anything. Maybe it's part of your karmic destiny to have strong feelings and strong convictions at a human level of, how we can make this world a more beautiful place. That's totally beautiful. That's allowed to, anything is allowed to arise. This can look like anything. And yet, increasingly, you just notice that none of those positions, no position can ever be a final truth. This can never step outside itself to assess itself from some kind of objective vantage. There's just this. This is all that we know. We are this. We are this seamless wholeness that is neither seamlessness nor seamfulness, neither wholeness nor non-wholeness. And the mind just goes blank. That's the real purpose of any pointer, is basically to prompt the mind to go blank, or prompt the mind to be seen through, such that the slipperiness of this natural condition can be directly felt, directly apprehended. When you just see that you can't ever even resolve or pin down 1 micrometer of your experience. I cannot even say with words anything final or fixed about this, about what this 1 micrometer of life is. Then how in the world do I think I can say something fixed or final about what this totality of infinity dancing through itself is? It's just seen to be an increasingly ludicrous proposition. And so the mind is seen through, the mind is not taken seriously in the way that it once was. Silence is found to be this kind of all-pervading condition, you could say. And again, that can be super misleading to the mind, because the mind's like, oh, okay, everything needs to become silent. Yet that's not what's being said. This can look like noise, clearly I'm talking right now, and something is hearing the the words that are arising right now. The silence is the transparency. The silence is the unresolvability, the unconcretizability, the unpinned down ability. As you see that there are no fixed meanings and no fixed meaning applies to this, you just kind of feel how all attempts at fixed meaning are just simply swallowed by this simple silence that is prior to all meaning making. Simple silence prior to all meaning making. Simple silence prior to all meaning making. That's what's being pointed at. Just that simple silence, just that simple rest, just that simple freedom of knowing nothing, knowing nothing. Gloriously, freely, wonderfully knowing absolutely nothing in any final sense. All perspectives allowed to be there, all perspectives embraced as poetry, all emotions embraced, any emotion can arise. This isn't about arriving at some special state or achieving some special condition, you know? It can be beautiful to undergo a process of heart opening and sanctification and becoming a better human being. And yet, the most fundamental, simple freedom is prior to all of that. It's just always been there. It's just always been there. So, in a way, it could be said to be orthogonal to all human activity and definitions, because it's just always been the simple space in which all that activity and definition has seemed to occur. Just a simple space of now. Can't say anything about it. Just a simple space of now. Thank you for listening, my friend. Much love.